So, computer science master's degrees, especially in the US, are perhaps the most popular, and for good reason. These guys end up making a lot of money. Uh, People who write code run the world, and essentially, it is the US that is driving tech products at this point in time. So, I'm pretty sure that our audience is very intrigued about how one can make it to the top computer science programs, especially since these are super, super competitive. And today we have with us Gaurav Srivastava. And Gaurav, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be intrigued by your journey and how you made it to some of the finest CS programs. Of course, we are going to start off with your background because I think the outcomes will be clear in the video title. That's why I'm not even mentioning it. But if you could start off with maybe what you did during your undergrad, what your profile was looking like at the time of your application, I think it will give some great context to our viewers.
Okay, so I did my bachelor's from Manipal University, Jaipur, and my mainstream was computer science and engineering. And I was interested in the field of machine learning, as most of the folks are. And since I think I spent my first year completely in exploring different fields, and in the second year I got to I got my interest as machine learning, and since then I have been working in that domain. And since after graduating, I graduated last year, 2023. So after my graduation, I've been working with Dell Technologies, and I'm working as a machine learning engineer there. And so my profile at the time of applications, it looks like I have, I think, 13 research papers at that time. I know like 1 year of WorkX in Dell, and internships were like I interned 2 times at Dell during my summer and winter, summer 2022 and winter 23. And also I had a Swiggy internship in between. So in Swiggy also I worked at as a applied research intern. This was pretty much about my profile. Yeah.
All right. So, for the benefit of our audience, if you don't mind telling us, Gaurav, what was your GPA looking like, and how many years of work experience will you have by the time you start the program, and what was your GRE score?
Okay, so my CGPA was 9.1 on the scale of 10. WorkX, I was having 1 year from the program start date. And my GRE score was 314. I got 168 in cons and 146 in verbal and 4.5 in AWA.
All right. Thank you so much. And I think that sort of solidifies our opinion in terms of the GRE not being such a massive part of the process, right? Your academic profile matters so much more. And I think your results are a testament to that. So, I always love asking students this question, despite the result being in the title, because, it gives us great joy listening to the outcomes. And I'm sure it gives you a lot of pride and confidence while you state it as well. So, can you run us through through your admits rather? Sorry.
I got admits from like Virginia Tech, Cornell, North Carolina State University, University of Virginia, University of Southern California, and Purdue University. Purdue, I got like 420. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. And I believe that your Virginia Tech was fully funded.
Yeah, in Virginia Tech, I got full funding, and they covered the entire tuition fee. They're also covering 88% of health insurance, and they are offering a monthly stipend of $2,750.
Wonderful. But I understand that you chose something different, or are you going to Virginia Tech?
I'm going to Virginia Tech. Yeah.
You're going to Virginia Tech. That's too hard to pass off, right?
Exactly. That's the offer you can't refuse.
Absolutely. Gaurav, did you expect that?
No, honestly, this fully funding type of thing, I have heard a lot of folks getting that, but they are all PhD ones. I
Uh-huh.
haven't heard in masters anyone getting such kind of offer. So I was completely shocked when I received that, and I remember I was reading the mail 10 to 15 times at that day just to be sure that I'm not dreaming. And yeah.
That's so wonderful to hear, and heartwarming for sure. And of course, the other universities that you got to are absolutely top notch as well, right? When you talk about Cornell and Purdue's computer science programs, absolutely terrific. So, Gaurav, did you apply to thesis track programs or non-thesis track programs? And what are your plans after you graduate? Are you sort of clear about that?
I applied to thesis track only, so because I was interested in research. And my plan after graduation, I might go for PhD or I might move to industry research. So it's not still decided because I think I'll be able to figure out in a year because on some days I am interested in continuing my research, pursuing PhD further. On some days I am more interested in industry research, like applied research. So
All right, fantastic. And Gaurav, in terms of your research papers, right? You said you have 13, and that is, I mean, by any standards, a lot, right? But do you think that the quantity of the research papers matter more, or if you have like two or three really solid ones, that would do the job as well?
No, like quantity doesn't matter like at all, because if you have a very good publication in, let's say, any A-star conference, ICML, ICBPR, ICLR, any A-star conference, like one paper would be enough. And like quantity is always greater than sorry, quality is always greater than quantity. And if you have even a preprint, not even a publication, but that's a very solid work, and you have done with a very great professor, or you have done a really great job, then sometimes that also will sail you through. So quantity, like doesn't matter.
And I'd like to delve a little deeper into that, Gaurav, because I think that will help not only imminent applicants, but somebody in their second year, maybe thinking about a master's, right? Can you tell me which ones were your strongest publications? Were all of these publications and research topics in line in one area? And which journals you published in?
So I started working in medical domain, because medical data set is like very easily available and it's very clean. So I started working in that. But later on, I got interested into optimization side of machine learning, and slowly my research track like changed over the years. So a couple of journals I can name you where I published. So applied soft computing, computers in biology and medicine, engineering applications of AI, all of them, like publisher was elsewhere, and these are journal names. So these are all quartile one journals. So I think I have total 7 journals and 7 conferences at the time of my application. Sorry, 6 journals and 7 conferences. Yeah.
And how does a student who's very early on in their engineering journey get to publishing and get to research, right? Because sometimes at private universities, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I know a lot of students we get from Manipal, Jaipur who don't do as much research, right? So it is a little bit more challenging. So how did you go about it, building this up?
So I'll say I am a bit lucky, because in my second year I found a professor who was very very much working in this same area which I was interested in, and I got an opportunity to work with him, and he really supported. But I can definitely say, if your college is not very good at research, you can definitely reach out to many IIT professors out there. Triple IT Hyderabad is there, Jadavpur University is there. So you can definitely always reach out to them. You can also reach out to abroad universities, Carnegie and everyone. Like most of the folks does that. But always don't just do research for the sake of getting a name with any great professor. I'll say do research because you love it, like for the sake of doing something novel, for the sake of doing something different, rather than just copying code from GitHub and just running that and changing couple of lines of already published thing and publishing. So I mean, you can just think of how can I improve something. People should focus on the problem statement. And there are a lot of gaps in machine learning. We don't have enough solution for every problem actually. So, for example, everybody go through machine learning initial courses, and everybody learns about SVM classifier, and we know that SVM classifier doesn't work out well for high dimensional data sets. So that can be a problem statement. You can improve SVM, traditional SVM, to work well with the high dimensional data sets. So there are a lot of problems which everyone can figure out, and everyone can start on their own, because nowadays, like if I talk about 10 years back, there are very limited resources we have available, but nowadays we have a lot of resources which we can use to start our own journey.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for that, Gaurav. And now I'm going to delve into the application process, right? So, can you run us through when you, first of all, started thinking about universities and the master's process and gave the GRE, and when did you actually start working on your applications?
So I started thinking about masters right in the start of my third year, because when I was working in the research area, my research area, and I got a lot of problems initially to work on. Then I slowly got interested into pursuing masters, and my professor also pushed me actually that, Gaurav, you should really go for a masters or PhD even for your graduate studies, because in US the research culture is much more good compared to India. So you can definitely target masters. So yeah, in the third year starting, I started thinking on my masters. Now I have started applying last year. For I was aiming for fall 23 initially, and actually the outcomes were not, I'll say, in my favor. So I applied to a bunch of universities, but I didn't got any desired admits which I was aiming for. So I decided to rather wait for a year and then apply next year, not to settle for less. So yeah.
All right. And when did you get started with Gradvine?
I started with Gradvine last year, May 23, I believe. Yeah.
May 23. So, Gaurav, what do you think was different between the fall 23 process and the fall 24 process? I'm sure the work experience might have enhanced your profile a little bit, but anything else you changed tactically in terms of your documents or the shortlist or anything of that sort?
See, the main reason I think which led me definitely rejections last year was not a proper guidance. So because see, a lot of people have good profiles, but I have seen a lot of average folks getting a very good admit also. Now the whole difference is conveying your story properly and conveying it properly through the applications, and definitely each and every pieces in master, like your SOP, your LOR, how you write a simple question that, okay, what's your research area? What people generally does is like they'll simply write, okay, my research area is this XYZ. No, you have to explain it properly. So answering all those minor question, your personal statement, your SOP, your optional thing. The optional things are, I think, most important because people generally don't consider that. So all those things are very important, and the proper guidance I have received from Gradvine, Suraj, like he mentored from very start. So I mean that's a main difference, I would say, because last year I didn't get any proper guidance, and I was even misguided because I was thinking also that, okay, in SOP I have to write all of the things I have done. But this year Suraj strictly told, no, Gaurav, you have to only write 2 projects if you want, but that should be relatable to your story, that should convey your point. And yeah, so the main guidance made the difference.
And that's such a lovely point, right? Because I see so many people doing SOP workshops and telling people what a good SOP is. Start with a quote, capture the attention. Look at a master's level, especially for technical programs like computer science. A good SOP for your story is not a good SOP for somebody else's story. You may have 6 paragraphs, somebody else might have 8, right? So, would you agree with the fact that your goal, the technical correctness of your goals, making sure that the entire journey seems to have one focus and a very deep insight into why you wish to pursue the degree is important in the statement of purpose, and you have to do your own research for that. There's no escaping that.
Yeah, this is like one of the most important point because they should get the answer that why even you are thinking of a master's right now. Your goal should be crystal clear. And I have seen your webinar also. Like you always say this thing that, okay, your goal should be in the very first paragraph, and that's what Suraj also mentioned to me in the very chart, because I have also started my SOP with a fancy line. And Suraj definitely cut out in the first go, and he suggested me that, okay, Gaurav, you have to start your SOP with a very simple, like just imagine the thing that, okay, if you are reviewing any other SOP, and that guy is like selling you were saying you a bunch of quotes and not coming to the point straight, then you will get pissed off. And that's what professor, like that you can think of the professor scenario. He's reviewing 100 SOPs, 200 SOPs in a day, in an hour. So you should really value his or her time. So start with a very main point. What do you want to do? What do you want to pursue? Why you are even thinking of a master's? What's your research area? And all the straight points. Talk about projects and talk about what you will do after graduation. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Get to your purpose, because it's a statement of purpose. That's essentially something that we always suggest. And thank you for seconding that. I think that will help a lot of candidates. So Gaurav, what do you have to say to students who look? A lot of students, when they go through the process, it's unfortunate that they look for convenience, right? Something that makes their life easy. Okay, you fill a form, we'll write an SOP for you. It could be convenience, or it could be underconfidence in your own ability to write, right? And that's what we try telling them, that irrespective of how good of a writer you are, it doesn't make a difference, right? It's about you telling your story. Templatized SOPs don't work. So I'm sure you put in a lot of work. Do you encourage students to put in that work, that research, that effort, and believe in themselves?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, see, if you can't just write a 2-page SOP from your own, like if you need someone else assistant in writing a SOP, then I think, your master's journey would really be difficult. So you can definitely you'll definitely need a assistance in terms of correcting your SOP, refining your SOP, or a third person perspective. Because if you are writing your SOP, then you will think, okay, it's great, but from some other person perspective, it might be not very great. So you need that assistance definitely, but you should really write your own SOP. You don't need to fill out any question forms and someone else will just write your SOP. And also, you should never use ChatGPT or any AI tools to write SOP, because I have seen many of my juniors SOP writing like, my journey has been instrumental and like significant breakthrough. All of these words are definitely ChatGPT. We are Indians, we don't have that high sort of vocabulary. So definitely you should write. My SOP didn't have any GRE vocabulary, like a very simple piece of document. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think nobody is judging your writing skills there. They really want to see what kind of a engineer you are, right? At the end of the day. And you said you started the application in May of last year, right? Which is early, right? Which is kudos to you. You started early. When did you submit your applications to all of these schools?
I have submitted all of my applications before November 15 because that's what recommended by Gradvine, and I think that is really difference maker definitely, because it's not about that, okay, if you submit really you will definitely get an admit, but if you submit late, then also think about this thing that, okay, if you are submitting at the last moment, you are not answering those questions properly, you are basically compromising on some of the other thing. So it's definitely better to submit early. You will have much more time, and also university might have a priority deadline which they will never tell you, but they might have hidden priority deadline. Because also think that if someone is really want to go to Virginia Tech, they'll definitely apply early. They won't wait till last 14 or 15 December till the deadline. They'll definitely apply early. Yeah.
Absolutely. It definitely shows the admissions committee intent, right? That you're very, very serious about attending the program. So Gaurav, did you have any doubts in the middle about your GRE score and whether you should retake it? And how was your thought process with the GRE initially, and how did you get comfortable with it as it went along?
Actually, I took GRE in 2023 and I got even bad score because my verbal was not very great, and I was overconfident that, okay, GRE is just a maths and English exam, so why would I even bother? So I was a bit overconfident. Then next year, Suraj suggested me to again take GRE, and because I was aiming for Georgia Tech and CMU. In rest of the places, it was optional or it is not required, but Georgia Tech and CMU, I was aiming, so their GRE was compulsory. So I took GRE, but again, when I got 116 in cons, so Suraj suggested that, okay, you shouldn't be bothered about GRE much, because anyways, it's just a factor, not an entire application. And yeah, your rest of the profiles matters definitely more than GRE.
All right, fantastic. So Gaurav, I want to conclude this part with a couple of questions, right? How did you feel when you got the offer letter, and how are you feeling now, right? You're very, very close to taking off, I believe. So can you describe the feeling?
It's undescribable, I would say, but the exact feeling, I would say, when I got offer from Virginia Tech, I was a bit surprised that, okay, is there a possibility that someone could get such kind of offer? And when I got Cornell CS admit, then I was completely shocked, because it's a dream come true, that feeling. So because Cornell I wasn't expecting, because when I got Virginia Tech admit, I was just crossing out university so that I won't have to wait for them. I'll just make my decision. And Cornell I crossed because I was thinking that I would never get there. So that type of feeling. And now it's a bit, very, very relaxed feeling, I would say, because I have not, I have not to think about any financial things, any sort of loan or any sort of pressure. Because see, studying during your entire masters with loan versus like without loan, so a lot of pressure difference is there. So if you don't have any loan pressure, you will definitely be more productive. You will definitely be, more uh, productive in your entire journey. So yeah, that feeling is very hard to describe in few words. But yeah,
And how did your family react?
they were also very shocked, because they were thinking about that. Okay, we have to take a big amount of loan for this kid because he want to study at masters, and of course 1 year work ex won't be enough saving. So we'll have to definitely take a loan, but they are so happy because I was getting a full funding, and even I was saving more than what I am with my stipend I'm getting. I'm saving more than what I am been saving in India. So yeah, they are definitely very happy.
Yeah, you're going to be one of the few guys who's going to end their master's degree with a net positive financial situation, I think, which is extremely rare. And this is so wonderful and heartwarming to hear, right? Because, when we charge a fee for our consulting, at the end of the day, the only, validation for us is the student outcome. And that's what really, really pleases us. And we are so thrilled because we say that, our consulting fee is an investment. Don't think of it like an expense, because in the long run, the rest of your life, this is an investment which, won't matter. So, lovely to see this outcome. So Gaurav, any final bit of advice to people who are just starting out on their journey, thinking about their masters, applying in the next year?
Yeah, first of all, like start early. Seek definitely a guidance. Definitely, you will need a guidance because master's journey, there are a lot of points which you will never know, but someone who is experienced in this field will definitely tell you, and definitely their advice gonna matters a lot. And this I've told several times to my junior that okay, like for example, if you are like coming to Gradvine, then you are spending let's say $500. But if you get such kind of scholarship or if you get a dream admit, then $500 is nothing. Like even your flight ticket is $900 to $1,000. So this is nothing. I mean, this investment you want, it won't matter a lot. So definitely seek a good guidance. Do not fall into pitfalls that okay, we'll write SOP for you, we'll correct the grammar for you. So I mean that you can do with Grammarly or ChatGPT. I mean that's like a proper guidance is not required in that side. And also work on the profile, like whatever you have built in last 3 years, convey that story properly through all your documents. Each and every question is important, not just SOP, not your LORs. Each and every question is important.
So Gaurav, people get caught up with the statement of purpose, right? And of course, it's a very important document. But where you get your recommendation letters from and what aspects of your profile a recommender can endorse, right? And how they add overall value to your application in terms of showing different dimensions of the applicant is very important. So how did you plan that mix and where did you get your LORs?
So I got my LORs from four different recommenders. The first one is my professor, whom I have done most of my research work. Another one is again a professor at my college, and with him also I have like 2 to 3 papers. My third LOR was from director of my department, and fourth LOR was a professional LOR I got from my Swiggy manager, because there should be a equal balance of industry as well as academic LOR. You could talk like the professors can talk about your different skills, your leadership, your academia, your research potential, as well as your industry, like how well you collaborate, how well how good you are as a team player. So every skills needs to be highlighted, so you need to ask different set of people. And also there is a very important point that okay, you need to build a very strong relationship with every professor, because they are putting a lot of effort in writing your LOR, and they are putting a lot of like a lot of effort in submitting your LOR, because that's also one of my professors, he was saying me that okay, I'm a bit busy, Gaurav, because your LOR needs a lot of questions. I don't know which university it was, but it needs a lot of questions, so can you give me some time? And also another important factor is that you should really ask your recommender beforehand. You shouldn't ask it on a last day, because they won't have enough time and they'll just randomly fill LOR and like it won't be good. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another benefit of starting early. Absolutely, right? Get your LORs done. You can submit your LOR link before you submit your application. So it can be uploaded and you can upload the application like 10 days later.
Correct.
And Gaurav, your fourth LOR was optional. You took that option?
It was optional, but wherever there is a limitation that okay, we can only upload 3 LORs. I think it was in Georgia Tech, so I uploaded 2 academic and 1 professional.
All right.
So
So you kept that balance going
yeah,
by and large. All right.
because
Lovely.
these 3 professors and one my manager, I have worked most of my time. So I was thinking to submit all 4 LORs wherever it is. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Gaurav. It was wonderful speaking with you. And I'm sure your story is going to inspire a lot of applicants and also help them avoid a lot of pitfalls. So thank you so much for taking time out and doing this. It's much, much appreciated.